I want my TED Talk to be about the courage to speak up and vocalize our beliefs by taking part in debates. Because from my point of view, having an opinion means being aware, and having the courage to change it, being open-minded. But I'd like to start with a quote of a well-known philosopher, Aristotle. He devoted much attention to the issue of rhetoric, but even though he lived thousands of years before us, he still managed to abstract my speech pretty well. He said, "Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in." For a while now, I've been a representative of my school in many debating competitions. And as you probably know, they're mostly about learning how to form a convincing argument and prove your point to others. But before I started attending classes, I was scared of sharing my opinion, even in a small group of friends. I was afraid they're going to judge me, show me I don't have enough knowledge, or simply argue better than I do. I thought in that case, it was better to just stay quiet, right? Well, now I know, not exactly, because my first debate was a total coincidence, but I can tell you how grateful I am for it. I got a role as fourth speaker like 5 minutes before it started. I definitely wasn't prepared, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was not a good debate. After like a half of it, I already knew my team was losing. How? Because they already convinced me we were making no sense. But as a fourth speaker, I get one last chance to try to make a difference. So I ask myself if I honestly believe in what my team was trying to say. And if I did, why was that? So I focused my mind on the reasons why I had believed in those arguments before and what made me believe in them. When my turn came, I didn't really know what I was doing, but it felt right to just stand up and explain my way of thinking to the judges. For those 5 minutes of my speech, I tried to leave all the worries behind me and just let myself speak from the heart. We lost anyway, but I was so satisfied, and I decided to join the team to practice my speaking regularly. Now I know it's just a story, but what I'm trying to tell you is that thanks to the debates, I found the courage to vocalize my opinions and reflections, even on topics I'm not that familiar with. I realized it's okay not to know everything, to make mistakes, and to change my mind. Because in real life, you cannot lose a debate. You can either convince someone that your way of thinking is just more reasoned and provable, or discover that there are still some loopholes that should be given more time and attention. Everyone sees the world in different shapes and colors. We all have diverse experiences to share and variant motives. What is thought-provoking, though, is that the algorithm social media works was created to show us products, opinions, or information that were similar to those we've previously clicked on. It might seem pretty helpful, but it also highly impacts the way we think. If we receive information only from our favorable channel or journalist, we're often not given the whole picture, thanks to debatings. But what I mean is confronting our views with others. We get the opportunity to practice our speaking more often, regularly, and learning how to say what you really mean. The fact that you haven't thought about every aspect of a particular issue doesn't mean you can't have an opinion about it. Most of our opinions we base just on intuitive reflections, not a pile of scientific books. Obviously, I'm not saying you shouldn't base your knowledge on confirmed information or statistics, but lack of such background shouldn't prevent you from starting a conversation. Quite the opposite. I truly believe debating is one of the most educative ways to discover the world and raise our self-awareness. Unfortunately, as we all know, debating and expressing our views to others always comes with the possibility of criticism, even though I truly think it's worth it. But I also know easier said than done. So I prepared a few tips that I learned during my debating classes that might help you to form a convincing argument and simply gain more confidence while speaking. Number one is the importance of your argument. Why your belief is worth standing up for. The second one is probability. Why is this narration or a scenario of your argument feasible, likely to happen in our everyday life? And the last one, impact. How does it influence our society, world, all the people around us, or even you? But to make it more understandable, let's have an example. let's say there is a debate about gap year, and the argument in favor is that it gives students time for internships, which might actually show them how particular professions really look like. And that's the statement, and I could finish just by saying it. But I guess not many of you is that convinced, and that's a good sign. So let's take a deeper look into it. Number one, answering the first question, the importance. Why is it even important for students to know the practical side of their future occupation? I'd say it is important because some universities program take up to 5 years, and finding a job while studying might be often impossible. So learning this time and so hard to finally realize it's not what you expected it to be seems pretty unfair to me. Let's also think about today's world. Nowadays, we have so many different options to choose from. No wonder it might be hard for young people to find the one that suits them the best. Finally, you can add something from your personal perspective. For instance, I believe most of us want our job to be something more than just a way of earning money. If there is a possibility to make this significant decision even more thorough, I say we should at least try. Secondly, the possibility. So why this narration that through internships, students or young people gain more awareness of what their possible future occupations look like? Here, from my point of view, every form of such initiative experience not only teaches us the tasks or responsibilities connected to the particular job, but also it's a great way to countercheck whether young people's imagination is consistent to the reality. So, yes, I think it is feasible because being able to experience any form of working may actually highly influence the way we think of it. And lastly, the impact. Because, okay, it is important and it is possible, but why is it profitable? So here I'd say the most valuable outcome of internships is the positive effect on students' future prospects and the satisfaction of their future job. Because, yeah, life cannot be fully predicted, but it doesn't mean our decisions don't matter. They all have huge impact influencing our future. So we just have to think of them and pay attention to them. Obviously, similar analysis can be easily done by the opponents of gap year. What matters, though, is that thanks to those three aspects, questions, we are able to reflect upon deeper findings of our beliefs and partially anticipate the reluctance of others. I hope, but I also think they're pretty reasonable. It's because we intuitively know we need to emphasize the important possibility and the impact of our argument. But for some reason, we tend to emphasize just the statement, not its background. I believe sharing and vocalizing our beliefs is truly important, especially nowadays when we have so many information from so many different sources. And our today's biggest task is to distinguish which one of them is trustworthy and which are just manipulation. I know it's not a piece of cake, but that's why we have each other, all the people around that we can talk to. Let's not be afraid of speaking our mind, because that would be a great, great loss. TED Talks are about ideas worth sharing. The one I'd love to share with you today is let's argue, but without anyone's losing. Thank you very much.